this is Albin. I'm bringing in the Ask the Expert show tonight. I got Michael Davenport with CVP here with me, and we are going to try to do what we can to help you through any questions you might have about your house, the property, under the house, in the house, whatever it might be. We are here as a public service to you to help you answer questions about your home. Chuck Worley is the founder of the show, and he's the main host of the 757 House Whisperer show, and his company is Worley Home Services. He specializes in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, crawl space encapsulation, insulation spray foam, and he does wells and geothermal. And my name is Albin. I'm with Albin Co. We specialize in remodels. We're doing a lot of kitchens and baths right now. If you got a kitchen or bath you're looking to do, give us a call. And Michael?
I'm Michael Davenport with CVP Windows and Doors. We are a manufacturer of replacement windows and new construction windows right here in Hampton Roads, Newport News, Virginia. We are the only local window manufacturer. Some people try to make you all believe they are local, but they are actually in Maryland, which I guess is more local than St. Louis, Missouri. But with that said, we are the only local guys. And Cindy Rowell, who is with Alpha Pest Solutions, was just at my place today taking a look at a couple of things for me. The girl is very talented. She takes care of all your bug problems. She is in the crawl space. She was at the crawl space of my place today. She's in the crawl space. And what surprised me, I was hot, very hot. She had 2 layers of clothing on. I'm like, Cindy, you're kidding me. Why don't you just wear coveralls? She said, I'm not even warm. And it absolutely amazed me because I was hot just looking. I mean, she was like covered up head, neck, and ears, as my mom would say. But the one special thing about Cindy is very, very unique. And what would that be, Alvin?
She's the only woman that has a license to kill.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now, ladies, that doesn't mean you need to call up and say, how much does she charge? She is a bug killer.
Yeah.
A bug killer.
We got to dial that in a little bit for those that might have maybe their spouse just isn't quite on par tonight or something like that. Yeah. This is not the place to call.
We just want to clear that up before we get started. And then the little guy on the team is my buddy Jack Keller, and he is with Legacy Painting. I've recommended Jack to a few of my clients, both in the window business and elsewhere, and everybody extremely, extremely happy with him. He is a young man, not even 30 years old, has an 8-member team that paints for him. Everything I've heard about those guys they're right on point. They make sure everything is 110% correct. They don't deal with things that are halfway. You don't have to worry about people on his team smoking out at your back door and that type of thing. They're just very, very polite and courteous to their customers. Tonight, some of the things that are on people's minds are the temperature. And between Albert and I, it's not our first rodeo. We can answer a lot of HVAC questions, that type of thing. Plumbing is what another thing Chuck does. But we pretty much cover the gambit on everything from the bottom of your foundation, your footer, all the way up to the tippy top shingle vent on your roof and in between. So please give us a call. The number is 757-627-7979. Again, that is 757-627-7979. And we're open phone lines now. We'd like for you to give us a call. And Albin and I got a couple of things that we want to just generally talk to you about today. And what's one of the things you find?
Yeah, so just a reminder, though, if you go ahead and start making your way into the call queue, give us a call, whatever questions you might have. We just want to remind you that if you call in, answer one of our trivia questions, or just call in and ask a question that so many people might be have a problem with. Again, you're not just answering the question for yourself by calling in and allowing us to maybe pour into that issue and help you through it, but you may also be helping others, maybe a neighbor, maybe somebody across the water, somebody across town, or even across one of the 757 area. So, so just give us a shout. We'd like to hear from you. So my trivia question is, and by the way, again, if you call in, you'll get a free coffee. I know we have a coffee sponsor. I don't know what the name of the sponsor is right now. I don't have it written down. I'm sorry. We will get that to you, but you get a free coffee card, and we'll look for you to call in. So my trivia question is about drain lines. This might be a tricky question. I don't know. Maybe somebody knows the answer because they've dealt with it already. But what does hydraulic pressure have to do with drain lines? What does hydraulic pressure have to do with drain lines in the ground? So give us a call, see if you can answer that. Michael, you had a question about windows that you can pose to some people about installs.
What is the we're going to talk about installs tonight, but what is the term of an impact window? What is the difference about an impact window and a normal window, and how are they built so that they can do what they do?
So I'm going to pry at that question a little bit. So
okay.
Is there areas where this becomes a code thing where you impact versus a normal, or is it just an added bonus to the window without trying to give away the answer?
Well, it is every window is not built as an impact window.
Okay.
Because they are quite a bit more
Are there
costly.
certain circumstances where code is going to require an impact?
High risk areas due to, like, for instance, let's go to Florida. Florida window requirements are absolutely off the chart compared to Hampton Roads requirements.
Yeah.
And they have window manufacturers in Florida they have such a high requirement because of the hurricanes that hit that place all the time. That the windows are extremely expensive because of that.
What organizations govern window code for you guys? Like, I mean, is there like a U.S. Windows Association or anything like that? Or?
Well, the Virginia code is a residential code.
So for instance, code. In my cold form metal truss division of my trusses, we have American Iron and Steel Institutes where a lot of stuff is decided about things. Like, I'm sure you don't decide how to design your windows. There's certain criteria that says, hey, you should design it this way because we've kind of figured out that these minimums are needed.
What happens is for instance, the windows we sell in Carolina, I'll have to have double strength glass. Mm-hmm. In Virginia, it's not like that, but Carolina had made that a requirement. The double strength glass is what we spec out to from one of our two glass suppliers, Cardinal and Guardian, both Virginia companies who manufacture their product in Virginia. And the other things that we have to do is we have to send the windows. We assemble the window. We build a window. Then we send it to a testing agency who tests the window and give it a rating as to energy efficiency. And when it's tested in a wind tunnel.
Is that UL? Underwriter Laboratory?
Yeah. And the windows that go into a wind tunnel are tested in a gateway size, which is a little bit larger than a normal window of today. And when they go in there, that gateway size, and our particular window is a DP 50. That's a design pressure rating. And ours failed at 171 miles an hour. Now,
so DP 50, is the 50 represent 50 mile an hour?
No.
What does the 50 stand for?
I do not know personally what it represents, but it does that window.
Maybe it's 50 pounds a square foot, or it has to do design pressure. You would think,
it has to do with the amount of air and water infiltration that will occur at a certain speed.
Okay, all right.
Because in our area, the higher the DP number, the better the window. Our minimum DP number is 50, and that's in the gateway size. Most windows are smaller than Gateway, and we've got some that are 65 and 70, I'm sure, and we're getting some of those tested now that are smaller windows. But you can go into Richmond, and a lot of because we are just currently moving into the Richmond market, and I saw some windows, a quote that a gentleman had gotten, and his were DP 15 rated. That wouldn't even be allowed in Hampton Roads, I don't believe, because of our situations with the hurricanes. They're a lot stronger here than they are up there. The terrain will weaken a hurricane. It doesn't stop a lot of the rain, but it will weaken the hurricane.
The wind speeds are a really crazy thing. In the cold form metal division of my company, we've dealt with wind a lot, and it's changed quite a bit over the years. You know, so now we go with this what we call V-alt wind speed. Most of the time designing in this area, our trusses are designed at 120 mile an hour. That's the minimum code. We have an exposure rating that we have to deal with. That's the amount of land next to the house, meaning like you maybe have some trees blocking the wind getting to the house or whatever. So most of the time we're designing for exposure C. If you're on the coast, there's a different exposure. If you're within 1,000 feet of unobstructed view of the water, you have a much higher standard you have to deal with, because you're dealing with gusts and the wind speed can just build up, and they don't have anything slowing them down. It's just like a locomotive hitting you. So all that has to play into it. And I'm sure you do when somebody says, hey, I want some windows. You're saying some of your basic questions are going to be, are you on the beach? Are you in Virginia? Are you in North Carolina? Are you in Richmond? And so all that plays into it. I do know that you guys, for the most part, have a catch-all, because one standard fits all, except for North Carolina, where you got to go to that. What did you call it again? What type of glass?
Double strength glass.
Double strength glass.
And and you're pretty much right, because when we everything we do is a DP 50 or better, and it could save you some money, but we don't believe that. We believe that there's enough quality builders that want a quality product for their customer, that having something that's a little better than what the minimum is not a bad thing.
Yeah. And you start to play this little game of, hey, I want a window. And you're like, well, I'll give you a lower design. And then they come back and say, well, what does it cost to just go a little bit more? And it's like, let's be honest, most people want the best. So you end up starting to see, well, the trend is that you want the best window for your house, and we want the best window for your house too. So you just kind of say, well, your standard is, hey, let's make sure the thing doesn't blow out,
Yeah, so. And that is important. The people, like you said, Alvin, that human nature is, well, if I can have average and better, it doesn't cost a lot more. Let's do better.
Yeah.
And so that is something that I think people are always thinking about, and especially with the safety of your family. And when you got, for instance, U value per the building code in Virginia is 0.35. The lower that number is, the better the insulating value. And you save somewhere around 21 to 23% on your energy with a U value that is better than the 0.35. Ours runs around 0.30. Some might be 0.31. Some of them are 0.28, 0.29. And we can get lower than that. We can also get windows that have very good sound dampening. You can be, for instance, we have done some very large projects right next to Interstate 64, and thousands and thousands of cars that run up and down that road. Some of the land that's right next to the interstate has we put our windows in there that have a STC rating that is extremely good, so that when you're inside the building, you don't hear the road noise. And,
so for people calling in, the STC is the sound transmission control rating. That's would you say the higher the number, the better the rating? Is that correct?
Yep.
It's kind of weird how some of these values, the lower the number, the better. Sometimes it's higher. And in this case, the STC rating, the higher the number is, the better it is. And you can actually have STC ratings that are, for whole walls. We can, as he's talking about windows, you can also design your walls for STC ratings.
Exactly.
So windows, you probably can only get to a maximum because you're dealing with glass. What was your best rating you can get for most windows?
There's different assemblies
that's affordable.
Yeah. It just really depends, because an I-89 glass helps. The laminated helps. The thickness of the glass, and like in the outside piece versus the inside piece, all those are variables that you factor in.
Your seals, your gaskets, all that stuff's going to play into it also.
All of it. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I have not been a big a person that felt like was important in this market is triple glazed windows. They came into effect during the energy situations that were occurring. And for us in Hampton Roads, it just doesn't get cold enough. And the other thing, if you're really particular about your design, it's like when heating and air guys do manual J. They want to know which way your house faces, north, south, east, or west.
How much glass, how much square footage glass,
and how much
probably the style of window,
like forestry cover you got. If you got the southern part of your house, the rear has all this glass.
Yeah, it's all about the radiant heat.
Exactly. And we can design your house to where the highest rated windows that you value is on the east, south, and west sides. The north doesn't really get any sunshine that's going to be affecting that, so it wouldn't be a big deal as long as it's good insulated glass. It doesn't have to have a high U, low U value.
Interesting.
Exactly.
So, and going back to the STC or the sound transmission control, along the lines of getting, for those that are listening are like near an interstate, or they got a piece of property they're looking to build, you want some clues on how to better construct, maybe to cut down on that noise. There are ways to frame your walls, whether you use insulated concrete forms. That's going to get you, it's like building a big bank vault for your house. But I mean, let me tell you, you won't hear a darn thing in that house if you build out of insulated concrete forms. You could use spray foam. Spray foam's going to make it a lot quieter. They have what is called Rockwool insulation out there. That is really going to help with sound quality. And I actually like Rockwool for multiple things. If you're not going to use spray foam, your Rockwool or mineral wool insulation has great advantages to rodents. They don't like to nest in it. Not that you should ever have rodents nesting in your insulation regardless, but they surely aren't going to gravitate towards it. If moisture does get in there, it'll dry out. Whereas most of the bats that we're dealing with in most homes, if it gets wet, you got to get rid of it. It's just never going to dry out, especially being in the wall. So you can add sound deadening, it's almost like a sealant. It's not a caulk, it's a sealant. You can put it on before you put your studs up, which is going to basically prevent some of that vibration, because sound transmission control is all about, sound travels through objects very fast.
Yeah.
So, if you think about it, in the old days where the guys would put their ears to the
wall,
they'd either put their ears to the wall or to the train tracks. You could find out if a train was coming by just listening to the train tracks. That sound is traveling at such a high rate of speed, and it can move through walls too. And we're trying to figure out how can we eliminate that transmission. So good sealing and proper isolation of the base plate on the floor level. How you can connect the studs, you can stagger your studs, you can have a double wall construction where the one wall doesn't touch the other. If you look up just STC and sound transmission control and framing a house, if you do that combined search, you will find so much stuff on sound transmission control and how to do advanced framing. for those that really want to make their next build a special build. And then, of course, Michael will be your contact person for, getting the right windows for the project.
The one thing, too, that helps a lot in the walls as far as sound transmission, Alvin had mentioned foam. Even if you did just a flash coat of foam and then put a batt insulation in behind it, that sound barrier seals up all of the voids that are in the wall. It does not allow any movement of moisture or sound through the wall. It ties the studs in tighter to the sheathing, makes it a structurally more stronger house. And those are all things that you want in your home.
Yeah. So when and if you're actually building your own home, this is all about DIY stuff on here. So we're trying to help you with some of that. Is the level of detail you need at the insulation phase. So you've framed the walls, you've sheathed the walls, you've had your framing inspection. Details, the devil's in the details. You want to be sure that you're sealing every hole at that level using fire caulk and different things that are going to help with that. So we're going to go to a break here. My name is Albin with Albin Co. We specialize in remodels. I have Cindy Raw with Alpha Pest Solutions. She is not on the show tonight, but hey, Cindy, Chuck Worley, he is the founder of the show. His company is Worley Home Services, specializing in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, crawl space, encapsulation, insulation, and also geothermal. And then we have Michael. Go ahead.
Michael Davenport, my partner and I, Barry Taylor, are the only window manufacturer here in Hampton Roads. As a matter of fact, Central Virginia. And we also got Jack Keller of Legacy Painting. If you want something local done, windows made to fit your home, please give us a call. We're going to go to a short break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, so, hey, this is Albin with Albin Co. bringing in the Ask the Expert show. Chuck Worley is the main host. He is with Worley Home Services. He is also the founder of Ask the Expert show. His company does HVAC, plumbing, electrical, crawl space encapsulation, insulation, spray foam, and well drilling. I think he also has geothermal also. He's got a lot of stuff that he does, and he helps a lot of people in the 757 district. And my name is Albin with Albin Co. We do remodels, kitchens, baths, all that kind of stuff. Right now, doing a lot of kitchens. I'd also like to introduce Cindy Raw with Alpha Pest Solutions. My understanding, she was over at Michael's house today helping him out.
Yep.
She is a wonderful person, willing to help in any way possible within her expert wheelhouse. And
Michael? She is amazing. My name is Michael Davenport. My partner and I, Barry Taylor, own CDP Windows and Doors. We're right here in the Hampton Roads, Newport News Market is where we manufacture our windows. We take the windows from a 20-foot long piece of extruded vinyl. We turn it into a window for your home. Unlike some people who say they're local, they're really not local. Their office may be local, but they don't manufacture locally. But we don't mislead you like that. We tell you like it is. And Jack Keller is with Legacy Painting. Jack is a young guy on the team. He is absolutely amazing. People love him to death because he's got this little baby face, but he's a smart kid when it comes to getting the paint work and using the right stuff. And when you have a problem, how to fix it. And if you got an enamel paint, and you want to cover it up with a latex, you got a special procedure to go through. And I want to do a little plug here. It's a public service announcement, and it's for Albin. Just recently, this past winter, Chuck and his new wife, Julie, They had Chuck's farmhouse, which is around 1,800 or so square feet, right on 5 acres of land in the middle of Tab. And, I mean, that's a big piece of land in the Tab area. And they didn't want a big house. They liked the land. And Alvin took that house with some design thoughts from those two, and he turned it into a cottage that is absolutely amazing. He took it all the way down to the studs on this ancient dwelling, over 70 years old, Alvin?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and it was when studs were real 2x4 studs, and no plywood, is all boards on the outside. And I mean, it's in the middle of the farm, and they're in the middle of putting a real not split rail, but a real fence around it. But Alvin took it down to the studs. He did everything new from the bottom up. In there a lot with his own men when they were finishing and doing things and what have you. And it's a really, really nice way to do it. And he didn't go in there saying, oh, you need to add this, you need to add that. He took the shell that was there and turned it into a dream cottage that is just absolutely amazing. I've been in there quite a few times since then, and it is just exquisite what work his is. If you get him to do something for you, you don't need to look around. You just need to get a hold of him. He's extremely fair on everything he does. There's not a crooked bone in a man's body. Well, some bones are crooked, I think.
Yeah, some have been broken and
he's
crooked.
not deformed looking, but but he is. He knows his stuff. He's been in the business a long time, and he'll give you ideas that you haven't thought about because of his experience and how long he's been in the business. He knows things that you won't know to think about or ask a question about. And that's the guy you want. And he's not going to rush you through the process. He's not about meeting you that first time and trying to get you to give him a deposit check and all this stuff, because he's not going to do that because he doesn't really know what you want with a first meeting. A talented person like Alvin has to get your thoughts in his head to develop what needs to be done that he thinks is what you're talking about. And that's the hardest part. And I believe you'd agree with that, wouldn't you, Alvin?
Yeah. It's all about, like, talking with the customers. I always tell them, I said, I want to know what you want. I also want to know your dislikes, because I don't want to try to encourage you to go a certain direction that you're like just is kind of, repulsive to you. People have color schemes in mind. They have design ideas in mind. They may want to go towards farmhouse. They want to maybe go more contemporary. They may want to go kind of the Euro style. So I listen to them. We walk through it. We try to develop basically it's an estate planning moment where we're trying to figure out, what do you need now? What do you need later? And then I also encourage them. I'm like, let's be sure that we're including the fact that what you need now is still functional when you go through life changes. I mean, you got kids now, you won't have them later. What does that room look like after your kids are gone? Do you sure you want to include a rope swing in the middle of the room when your kids are gone? So it's who knows what you want, but we just try to think long range, making sure. And then of course, if you want the rope swing, we'll throw it in. It can go away later, and sometimes what you want now and what you want later might not add up, and we can come back and make some changes then. But we try to make judgment calls on how we're going to plan this out, whether we're going to add a building later, make an addition to something, or whatever it is. Call 757-627-7979. The number is 757-627-7979. We're getting a little lonely here. Had any calls? We'd love to hear from you. Maybe you got some question about design for the inside, outside, crawl, encapsulation. We want to bring up our questions here again. We were talking about drain systems. What does hydraulic pressure and drain systems, we're talking about external, in the yard, drain systems. What does hydraulic pressure have anything to do with drainage? And I think Michael had a question regarding windows.
Yeah. In our area, due to the high risk of hurricanes, we have what's called an impact window. I'd like someone to tell me what some of the specific parts of an impact window are and what makes it special. And it is very special.
Yeah, I've seen some YouTubes on impact windows. I won't give any stuff, but it's pretty cool. We were also talking about STC ratings, and I want to go into that a little bit more because, we talked about how to design a wall, some stuff like that. We can talk about windows. There's a thing called, if you're really getting into the science of STC ratings, you're going to have flanking in your STC ratings where sound transmission could go through your slab, under the wall, into the other room. It could flank through doorways. It can flank through a ceiling. So there's a lot of design criteria that if you're really want to make sure that your game room, your movie theater room is dead silent to the rest of the house, or you're just trying to keep noise out of from the outside, there are definitely considerations that you can implement that will help you get there. And this doesn't only extend to framing and windows. This goes into HVAC. Chuck would definitely be able to help you to make sure every time, I guarantee you, every time his crew goes out there, they're doing certain things to make sure that as that air is moving through the ductwork, that you're not hearing that noise. There are design criteria on how you make your approaches in the flex duct to make sure that when it connects to that register, you're not hearing this loud rumbling noise.
You do not want to have to talk louder or turn the TV up because your HVAC, heat, air conditioning, whatever comes on. That just not necessary.
You kind of think, well, really? Is that a thing? Yes. When they go through the design criteria, there are certain sizes that they have to keep with to make sure that the pressure is not so great that it causes this whistle or hum or whatever they may call it. So, also plumbing. How are you suspending your plumbing? Are you wanting to make sure that the plumbing's not making noise? Isolating that from your walls and making sure that you suspend it or connect it in such a way that you're not hearing the flushing in the walls. One other thing that we do a lot of, believe it or not, is we always do it as kind of an ad, bathrooms. Yeah. And everybody wants their privacy in the bathroom. So usually we soundproof the bathroom. We'll offer a solid door at the bathrooms, and that way whoever's in the bathroom can have a little bit of privacy, and you're not.
You don't want it echoing through the house.
No.
I do have a question. Any of you that have had your windows replaced recently, this question is for you, and I hope someone calls in with some of the questions I'm going to ask. What was important to you when you chose the company that did work for you in replacement of your windows? Some of the things that you might have considered would have been the cost. You want to know how the cost worked out naturally. But energy efficiency, whether the windows were single hung or double hung, and if you did not know what the difference is, we'll elaborate on that in a minute, or a casement design. Was having a black window on the outside important to you? Did you want
lifetime
black?
Guaranteed lifetime? Yeah, lifetime is part of this whole thing. How long will the window last? I'm sure it's a question that comes up.
Well, the paint on those windows. There's one company called Custom Vinyl Paint. Is in. We have the new operation. It's newer than the one in Ohio.
You're talking about the black paint.
Yeah,
right?
The black paint. Yeah. He is in right outside Raleigh, and he paints for everybody. And he does an excellent job. But it's these things that are important. And is it customer service? Is it customer service local? Very important to you. Some people even ask us because they're familiar with some of the glass manufacturers in the area, and they want to know, are you using a specific glass manufacturer? If anybody's out there that had windows installed, another question is, did you use what's called a box frame replacement, where your sashes were taken out and a new box frame goes inside your existing wood frame, and they put that in there, caulk it in, and then break metal to go around the outside. Normally it's got brick mold on it. Or did you do a new construction install where if you had a vinyl window, they actually come in and peel back the vinyl, put the window in like a new construction window, siliconing the back of the flange, taping off the flange as it goes into the sheathing, and then putting the vinyl back down. We'll talk a little bit about those two. Alvin and I will right now. And if someone would like to call and give us the experience they had and how they ended up picking what they did and what have you, it would be interesting to know. And I know in all of the thousands of people are here in Hampton Roads, somebody probably had windows installed recently. If you call with that, would be
tell us what your experience was. Maybe we don't need to know who did the install, but maybe you had a pleasant experience. You want to talk about it. I would say that in all the windows that I do in replacement windows is if the customer can afford the extra mile, is I prefer doing new construction windows in those situations. I don't know the condition of how the last window was put in, whether it was flashed to the siding correct, like the sheathing correctly, and whether it was flashed properly at all. So I get a little concerned about messing around with that and having somebody call me back and say the window's leaking. Well, I said, well, it was the old window. We did a replacement. And so I always feel much better about going in. Takes just a little bit of extra time to go in there and maybe pull back the vinyl siding and re-nail a new flange on and flash it properly. I know I'll sleep better at night.
Well, and Alvin brings up an extremely good point here, because a lot of times people say, well, that window wasn't any good, it leaked. Well, the window is no better than the installer putting the window in. And Dupont has an excellent system that they are very clear on the direction of how to put the window in, install it properly. And if the window is installed properly, the only way there's a leak is if there's a penetration in the sheathing up above the window that gets into the wall cavity, and then it presents itself at the window. It does not necessarily mean it's a window. And just because something presents itself at one spot doesn't mean that it's occurring there.
Water will find its way.
Yeah.
And so that means either you have a problem with your drain plane, which is basically between your siding and your plywood sheathing, you can have a drain plane there. Water's going to find its way, but you want to make sure that it finds its way outside of the drain plane. You're okay if that happens. It's not ideal. You want your first defense is your siding. Anything gets beyond that, you want to make sure it stays outside the rain screen. And then, of course, as Michael said, if things are not installed properly, something's going to find its way past that rain screen. And then it's like, who knows where it came from? So it's very difficult to know where stuff comes. I've had people come to me and say, I got water coming in. It's come from here. It's come from here. And I'm like, well, we can start and try to repair it, but it's not going to be a guarantee. Yeah. It's kind of like a roofing, hey, I got a leak. Can you fix it? I'm like, well, we can make an effort to try to fix it, but you may be calling me back because it's still there, but I'm only, unless I try to fix it in the rain and watch it stop, there's still that chance that there was another leak, or it moved sideways on the roof, or it only leaks when it's blowing the right direction.
Let me tell you about the worst one I ever had. When I got out of college, there was a builder, a national builder in Richmond, Virginia, that I worked for. And we had built this house for the guy, and I'll forget he was a postman. And he'd have water leak over top of his kitchen sink, and it only occurred on a day when it was raining very slowly, but it rained all day. And I was a 22-year-old young guy and new in the business, and an old carpenter. I thought he was old because he was 50-some. And this old carpenter, he said, you have to follow the trail. And I was like, what? He said, you have to follow the trail. He said, get in the attic, and the attic will tell you the story. And I knew, he said, you know where it started. There'll be evidence in the plywood of where the trail is. So it was 2 weeks later, I think. And I mean, it had been raining all night, and it was halfway through the day, and the postman got home about 3:30, and he calls me. He says, it's leaking. Come on over. And so I went over there, and I'm in the attic, and from the kitchen sink to the right end of the wall of the house was about 18 feet. And so I got it in the plywood. If you know, plywood comes in 4x8 pieces. And so I'm following the wet trail in the plywood, and I'm following it up. And it comes up to the ridge board at the top. Hold on, sorry. Dealing with that respiratory things going around. And so I follow it up, and then I get my ladder, still drizzling rain, and I go up on the top and found out where some questionable individual, the siding man, instead of, when he put his pump jacks up, instead of raising the shingle up, putting his support piece there and nailing through a portion where the shingle would come back down and cover that, he puts it through the shingle at the top and never even silicone, no caulk on it or nothing.
Crazy.
And I followed that, and we fixed that. Never a problem after that. So like Alvin said, a leak of any type can be just make you crazy.
Yeah.
But you got to be diligent in following the trail, because that will always answer the question.
We have just a couple minutes. I figure we go ahead and get our questions answered here. Hydraulic pressure. So my biggest way I can explain this is why hydraulic pressure has anything to do with drain systems is I'm going to describe it as a swimming pool in the ground. If a swimming pool's in the ground, it's going to stay in the ground as long as water's in it. If you pull the water out of that swimming pool, there is a good chance that swimming pool is going to pop out of the ground. It may not pop all the way out of the ground. So for those that don't want swimming pools anymore, if you empty it out, it's not a guarantee that it's going to come all the way out of the ground, but it will lift out of the ground depending on how high the water table is in that area.
It's guaranteed in Pocosin.
It happens with gas tanks. We did a job in Willard Pump Station in Hampton where we had it was probably a 5,000 gallon gas tank under the ground. And it was filled with water. We had to pour a slab over the tank first to get the water out of the tank so they could fill it with gas for their emergency generator there. So, anyways, we're running low on time. My name is Albin with Albin Co. I specialize in remodels, really doing a lot of baths right now. If you need a bath, give me a call. Kitchens, we're doing a lot of those too. I would like to also introduce Chuck Worley with Worley Home Services. He's the founder of the Ask the Expert show. We have Cindy Rawl with Alpha Pest Solutions, a fantastic lady that is helping a lot of people with pest control.
My name is Michael Davenport. I'm with CVP Windows and Doors. My partner, Barry Taylor, and I, coming up on 25 years of ownership of the business. We are the only custom window manufacturer in Hampton Roads, and we do replacement and new construction windows. We're very, very customer-oriented, and we are looking out for our customer base, because without your customer, you have no business. And I'd like to also mention Jack Keller. He's with Legacy Painting, and he is the young man on the team. He is not even 30 years old yet, has a crew of people that are 8, and they are extremely talented individuals. He just doesn't hire anybody. With CVP Windows and Doors, you'll always be first. And this show has been presented for just you, the Hampton Roads audience, and it's to help you help us help each other. For everyone that calls, there's someone listening that doesn't call. And remember, all of us are local people. We're not people that came from the outside into the area to try to make a buck and leave. We are here helping our local friends, and that is what it's all about. At the end of the day, when we lay down at night, we know we've done our very best for our friends and neighbors. We welcome you and thank you for listening in tonight. I know a lot of people mention it, and we're going to wind this thing up. We'll talk to you guys next week, Hampton Roads.
You all take care.